Too fat or not too fat? That is the question I will answer in this video. If you're invested in making your dog happier and healthier, then keep watching all the way through. Hi, I'm veterinary Neil de Schrijver and I help cat and dog owners avoid sudden sickness and high medical bills without the long waiting times and stress, and so Dr. Google doesn't give you a heart attack. If you'd like to avoid medical or behavioral problems for your furry friend, be sure to click the subscription button below and hit that bell button so you get notified every time I release a new video. The question of whether or not your dog is too fat is a little bit more complicated than just the numbers on the scale. You also need to know how your dog got fat and what problems obese dogs can have. Let's dive into these 3 chapters right now. Chapter 1. Too fat or not too fat? To actually know if your dog is overweight or obese, we need to know his body condition score. To find out if your dog is on an ideal weight, you need to touch your dog, feel if you can feel his ribs or not, if they're sticking too much out, especially, and also the spine on top of his back, then he's too skinny. And if you're just feeling them but they don't stick out, then it's perfect. And after the ribs, he should go in the flanks when you're going further along his butt. Also the belly, where there is stored a lot of fat, oftenly you should not have a pouch there. It needs to be nice and up. If your dog is too fat, then your ribs will hardly be felt or not at all, and there will be a pouch hanging there. And we also can have from the ribs to the butt straight ahead. We call this a table. Then he's overweight. And if he goes even outward, then he's actually obese. Often people come to me and they say, well, my dog only gained 1 kilograms or 2.2 pounds. And this is actually quite a lot, especially for a small dog, because 1 kilograms for a small dog represents 15 kilograms too many for a human. So that is 2.2 pounds is 33 pounds too many for a human. For a big dog, this comes down to 1 kilograms is more 7 kilograms for a human. Chapter 2. The problems of an obese dog. What most people don't realize is that obesity is not just a state, it is an illness all of its own, because it causes a lower state chronic inflammation in the body. So annoying problems you might find is that they're constantly begging for food. Also when you're trying to have a nice and quiet dinner, and this is mostly learned behavior. So they'll be bothering you at your dinner table. They might start to whine and make noises when you just put down your newborn baby or you want to sleep. It wakes you up in the crack of dawn. These are all very annoying things that can be avoided. A dog that is too heavy might also be snoring or have apnea while he's sleeping. Those are a few things that might bother you, but your dog, when he's obese, is a ticking time bomb for a number of health problems. Just like with cats, he's more prone to urinary problems, but not as much so. He is more likely to get heart problems, kidney problems, or diabetes from the constant state of inflammation and higher blood pressure. He will get arthritis and arthrosis much more earlier on in life, so your dog will be facing pain for the rest of his life, and he will start limping when he cannot hide this any longer. His life quality and expectancy is much lower. Studies have shown that dogs can live 1.5 to 2 years less when they're obese, and that is a lot for a dog. They can start to develop skin folds where the air cannot reach enough, so they can get dermatitis or skin infections. That is not nice at all. The list goes on, but these were especially the most common ones and some of the most life-threatening ones. Chapter 3. How did your dog get fat? Castration or sterilization or neutering and spaying causes the metabolic rates to slow down, but they get more hungry. So if you then not follow your veterinary guidelines or they don't give them to you, then your dog will most likely get fat So he'll need a special diet specially designed for this kind of dog and the age of your dog. And you have to respect the amount that is said. If you've gotten the proper guidelines correctly and you've implemented them, then your dog should not be getting fat. If by any chance, and this doesn't happen all that often, luckily, your dog is a strictly indoor dog and he doesn't get enough movement, and he's more prone to getting overweight as well. A quick in between, if you have a new dog or thinking about getting one, check out my quick start guide to dogs in the link in the description below. It is a gold mine to avoid medical problems and medical bills. Not going to the vet for a yearly checkup. A good vet will check his weight and keep track of it and will notice a slow increase much sooner than you do. And when it's starting to increase, it is much easier to prevent it and do something about it at that time than to wait until it's too late when he's already obese. And it's much more difficult to get him on an ideal weight again. Eating human food. Giving your dog little scraps from the table are actually much more detrimental than you might think. I have here a chart which represents the most commonly given foods to a dog in donuts. And I can tell you, donuts, they're really fat and unhealthy. So be sure to not give any kind of these foods, especially if your dog is overweight. And by the way, don't give your dog donuts. Not being interested to play or jump around, and this gets worse and worse when it gets bigger and bigger and just laying around. It might also be because he has some kind of pain or physical problem, so please get him checked out by the vet first. Some breeds are actually genetically more predisposed to getting obesity, like Labradors, Golden Retrievers, the Cocker Spaniel, the Cavalier, King Charles Spaniel, any Spaniel really, the Maltese, the West Highland White Terrier, or what we call a Westie, Sheltie, a Pug. These are just a few examples. This is the end of this video, but I will not leave you hanging. Stay tuned for the next video in this series on how to help your dog lose weight. If it's already there, I will put a link in the description below and at the end of this video. With that being said, let's keep your furry friend happy and healthy together, and I will see you in the next video.